that was the beginning. That was the start, and people seem to respond to that. And that sense of travel, I thought there's so many wonderful aspects of this that I would love to turn people onto. And I feel like I could do it with humor in a way that hadn't been presented before. And so that's when I started pursuing Somebody Feed Phil.
How much are you involved in this program in terms of the picking the destinations, the right? You're in a big machine now. You're in a global enterprise where people all over the world are seeing what you're having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, Phil. But how much are you enjoyed into? How much do you enjoy, or how much are you involved in the whole planning process and everything that goes into it?
I'm as involved as I can be or want to be. I When we first started, I was very concerned with where we're going, exactly what we're doing. And then as we go now, this is going to be our 8th season coming on. I've learned to trust the production company who have fixers all over the world. We have people that we work with all over the world because the production company used to be Anthony Bourdain's production company. And so I may do my own research the way you would do research. You Google best restaurants in Glasgow, and you see what the popular places are. You read reviews, and then I leave it up to the people who live there to tell me, are these really good, or is there a new place that's better, or has this been done too many times before? Is it old hat now? Should I do something else? And then we leave room in the schedule for serendipity, for things to happen spontaneously as they would for you on a vacation that you were taking. So to answer your question, yes, I'm very involved, but I also welcome the involvement of everyone around me. And that goes for the editing as well. I do have final say as to what gets in the show. And so I kind of am the overall producer of it. But I also trust my brother, who's the executive producer, to use his judgment as well. And I'm way more trusting now than I was at the beginning. And to be honest, Richard really does put the show together. He's great at it. Don't tell him I said that.
we won't make his head too big. So my gran had a brother called Phil.
Yes.
And Phil moved from Glasgow to Astoria, Queens in 1929 with his wife, raised a family there. They all ended up in New Jersey. So I've got lots of cousins over there, and I've spent lots of times in New York with them.
I was born in Queens.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And your name is Phil. So,
that's right. We're related.
You're now the second Phil from Queens in my life.
That's very good.
I was wondering if being born in Queens and growing up in New York City prepared you for being an adventurous or curious diner, because so much of the world is on your doorstep.
That's a great question. No, it didn't. It didn't at all, because we couldn't afford to go to all the wonderful places New York has to offer. And so I ate at home every night, and the food was not world class. It wasn't even very good. But I just thought that's what food was. You know, when you grow up in your family and you don't have exposure to many things, you think that's the way the world is.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I left that house that, first of all, I had food with flavor. But second, that there was a whole world of food to discover from people from all over the world. First in New York. And then when I went on my first trip to Europe, when I was in my 20s, I'd never been anywhere. And that really blew my mind.
Yeah. And you've been kind of experimented ever since?
Yes.
Do you find it now that you are a curious eater, or is this something you have to force yourself into?
Oh no. I'm very, and I realize I like a lot of things, and I'm very happy to try things. Now, that said, I'm not Andrew Zimmern. You know who that is? He'll try the weirdest stuff just because it's weird. I'm really not looking for that. I'm looking for delicious. So I'm looking for local specialties, but I do have limits. You know, in Mexico, they offered me iguana. and I wasn't going to eat that.
Yeah. That was a no. You're touring the cities when you come to the UK. It got me thinking about cities in your life that are important to you, or cities in your life that you've really been struck by the food. Because I think
Yes,
the food is a great way to very quickly get to grips with what the people from a city is all about, how they live, what they're into,
that's right.
style of entertainment, how they connect.
Yeah.
What are your favorite food cities, or just cities that are important to you, Phil?
Well, New York, definitely. Los Angeles is probably the best food city in America, even more than New York, I feel, because of the diversity. It really comes down to how many immigrants there are in your city. For instance, I believe it's Glasgow. I had the best shawarma I ever had in my life,
Yeah, I know that
right?
place. I know
I
that
put it
place.
in the show. And when I
Other
come,
thing.
you
Yeah,
better believe that I'll be stopping there again.
yeah.
I love it. So I didn't expect to find that in Glasgow, right?
This is interesting as well for cities, because musicians and comedians who go on tour a lot, they
Yes.
have a terrible diet because they're stuck. They're eating at unusual times of night and all that kind of stuff. But you've
Yep.
got the secret codes now. You've got like all these kind of little places that you can dip into. Even if you do, you can quickly run from the theatres, the best shawarma you've ever had, and then dip back in.
That's
Um,
right.
have you found this, that you've been able to kind of crack the code and get into the life of a city through some of your visits, and maybe find places that you want to go back with your family and stuff like that?
Every time, every single time. And I find that the world is so wonderful now. And I'm going to attribute this to the internet, where a kid in Iowa in the United States can see what a chef in Paris is doing and learn from it and emulate it using their local ingredients. And it's made the world fantastic in that you can find a great meal anywhere, right? I
Yeah,
know Glasgow wasn't always known for food, but you have a wonderful food scene now.
yeah, we do, and you showcased it brilliantly, Phil. It
Oh,
was,
thanks.
and you got sunshine as well. I was like, how did you manage that one?
I don't
Uh,
know. I hope to bring some more in is it April I'm going to be there? Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So, and then you went to Edinburgh as well. You
that's right.
managed both cities, and you met some really interesting people along the way. Is the relationships important to you as well? Being able to have
The
little
most
conversations
important.
and stuff.
The
Yeah,
most important. I look forward to seeing some of my friends when I come back. And I keep in touch. Anyone can keep in touch with me through DM on Instagram, and I just love it. There are people I've met all over the world. That's the best part of doing the show, or just traveling at all, even without a show. The best part of traveling are the friends you make.
yeah, definitely. And I was just thinking about the universal aspect of food. You were able to go into like a neighborhood Malaysian restaurant in Glasgow, and people will watch that all over the world, and they'll be able to make some kind of connection. Julie Lynn was there with her mum, and like she was trying different food, and you were talking to her and stuff like that.
Yes,
Um, you've made a career out of writing pretty much in your own authentic voice and drawing in your own experience, and that's what brings you here. And you can go out on stage and you can speak in your own voice. I was just wondering about humor. Do you think that humor is something that's universal, that people can make that connection to, even if you do have quite a local view, or a very particular personal view of the
yes.
world?
I find that food is the great connector, and then laughs are the cement.
Okay, I like that.
Because if you and I meet over a meal,
Yeah,
right away, no matter where you're from, it's a human thing that we all do and we all like. We look forward to mealtime. Sometimes it's the only bright spot in a person's day, is that break they have to eat. And, if the food is then any good at all, now we're happy. And then if we share a laugh, now we're friends and we
yeah.
might eat again. So to me, that's the secret of life. It's the secret to peace in the world. It's everything.
I'm going to jump back to cities because we talked about New York,
Yeah,
we talked about Los Angeles. I was just wondering
yeah.
when you went to
Other
Europe,
ones, other
when you went to
places.
Europe for the first time,
Yeah,
and your mind was kind of opened up to new
yeah.
flavors. Where was it you went? What was
It
that
was it
first
was two
experience?
places. It was Paris and Florence.
Okay, that would do it. Yeah,
That's where I was. Pretty good cities to start with on a food journey, I
yeah.
would say, right? There, I don't know, I thought Paris was heaven until I got to Florence, and I think I like that even more. The Italian way of doing things and the Italian food and the scenery. Italy might be my favorite place, but listen, uh, uh, you live in a beautiful place. Scotland is absolutely gorgeous. Ireland, gorgeous. England, gorgeous. It's all there's, you know, I haven't found any bad places yet.
Yeah. That'll be an alternative series, Phil. Wait, that could be a spin-off.
The
Phil doesn't
bad
eat.
places,
Don't feed Phil.
please hide me. Somebody hide Phil.
Um, so I mean, you kind of you involve your family and stuff in the
Yes,
show and bits like that. Are they enjoying this iteration of dad and husband being this
I think
global
so.
explorer?
I think they like it. Uh, they come when they can. They they have lives of their own. They all have careers, and so sometimes it's hard to coordinate getting everyone in the same spot. But I love having them. I love, I've been traveling with my wife for about 40 years, so we enjoy that. She might be with me, by the way, in Glasgow. Uh, and just because we spend enough of time apart when I'm traveling to do the show and these tours, she can't always come. So that's a good chunk of the year that I'm off doing things. But so then I try to get her in to come with me to film episodes. She's, I think, in 3 episodes coming up out of the 8. Uh, my son Ben and his new wife is in one coming up, and my daughter Lily and her fiance are in one or two. It's a joy to do. And there's another reason I do it too. I think it's relatable to the audience because when we travel, we generally travel on vacation with our families. So here's what this town is like. Look at the fun and beautiful experiences you can have with your family.
Totally.
Yeah.
Um, I was wondering if there was any cities that you brought home with you. Like I went to Tokyo on a trip and I spent about 4 days there, and
How
ever
great is
since,
that? How great
it,
is that food scene?
amazing, mind blown.
Amazing.
It was a different world, Phil. And ever since then, there's been kind of like Japanese food has found its way into my home.
Yeah.
I wonder about if there's any kind of cuisines that have leaked in from the show into your own kitchen.
Well, my kitchen exists only to order in takeout.
Or to your takeout menu selection then,
Yeah, because I can't cook. I mean, that's the sad part is that I've learned nothing about cooking. No, the truth is I have learned some things, but I don't have the talent or the temperament for it. I also, when you've had the best food in the world, even from a street vendor who's doing things that you can't believe how great it is, right? I'm like, what? Well, I can't do this. Why not just support the people who can do it? My joke is people say, you have a food show and you can't cook. I said, yeah, but I meet a lot of great chefs in the world. They can't write a sitcom.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we all contribute to life in our own way.
So you wrote for Ray Romano, and you wrote in a way that was kind of drawn from your own experience, and then
Yes.
you watched him on screen. I wonder if Ray has ever watched your television show and kind of had that out of body experience watching someone who's because you were two people that were so in sync in terms of like the way you would say things or frame things. You're both writers as well.
Well, yeah, there were certainly many aspects of my personality in that character, but I would say even more so, Ray is Ray. That is him.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah.
And you write for somebody and you try to write in their voice.
Right. Yeah.
And it's even to the point where you write a line that you think, is the way you would say it, and he may have a better way of saying it that fits him more. So you adapt to that. That said, your point is well taken. We spent so much time together that I'm sure there are aspects of my personality that rubbed off on him and vice versa. So
Yeah.
because we're like brothers now. In fact, he's here in New York with me. We're going out together tonight.
So, where do you hit when you're out in New York? Is it restaurants? Is it one big
Yes.
restaurant you lounge in, or that kind of thing, or?
Once a year, I go to one of my favorite restaurants in the world. It's called Peter Luger's.
Yeah, the steakhouse, right?
It was in the New York episode. Yeah. It's really perfect if you like a steakhouse experience because every element is great, not just the steak, but everything else.
Yeah. And I like a restaurant that just finds a place and kind of stays there, like it's immune from fashions and stuff like that.
Yes.
And on that note, I'll let you go off and enjoy your steak,
Oh,
Phil.
this is very pleasant. Thank you.
I've
Will
enjoyed
you
the
come to the
conversation.
show?
I will come to the
Oh,
show,
good.
and
Will we make sure to
yeah,
say hi after?
I will absolutely. Thank you very much, Phil. All the best. Bye now.